The book I am about to bring to life is a science fiction thriller based on the book The Birthday Song by Jazmine Twitty. This is Season 1, Episode 4. Junior opens his eyes and quickly notices how dark it had gotten in a matter of seconds. He was just at his birthday celebration and now he has to peel himself off the street. How did he get there? Where are his friends? Where is he? Junior stands up and calls for his mum and dad. The evening is very quiet and the street lights are already on. Junior stands up and looks all around him. "If this is some sort of prank, Drew, I'm going to kill you." Nobody answers Jimmy, and he realizes that he's alone. He couldn't be too far from home because he recognizes some of the street names. If he had been irresponsible and had alcohol at that party, he'd forgotten. How could he be somewhere else within a blink of an eye? Jimmy began to find his way home. "If I could just remember something, that would be helpful," he mumbled to himself. Junior is all alone. It's dark and it's late. 15 minutes have gone by and all of the homes are beginning to look alike. He walked past the home with a car parked in the driveway with a license plate that read "Time's Up" at least 3 times. Frustrated and angry, Junior begins to regret asking for a birthday party at 16 in the first place. He should have gone to the football game or his friend's house instead. About 5 more minutes have gone by now and he just wants to rest. He's starting to hear scary footsteps behind him and he even saw a talking tree a few yards back. Junior sits on the curb in disbelief, anger and confusion. He puts his face in his palms just like his father did when he would get stressed about one of the bills or car trouble. Junior begins to doze off. With his palms covering his face, he nods several times as if he is falling asleep and fighting it desperately. "Last time I shut my eyes, Junior said to himself, but then suddenly stopped. He saw several headlights and even moving people straight ahead. Maybe they could give him a ride home. As Junior walks toward the headlights, he begins hearing what appears to be drunken teenagers. He walks up to the crowd to greet them, but is blinded by the headlights. He can hear the dorky laugh of David Jones from school and his friend Tiger. "Drew," he called out. "Nah, Drew ain't here," one teen said. Jimmy replied, "Can one of y'all give me directions home?" "Where do you live?" another yelled out from the car club. "None of your business, pokeface!" somebody yelled from the car club. Jimmy remembered his dad telling him to never give out his address to a stranger, so he kept walking. As it starts to rain, Junior takes off his button-up to cover his head. He walked a quarter of a mile down the road and noticed a gas station ahead. "I could stop there for directions," he mumbled to himself. When he gets inside, the store clerk says to him, "Hey, Junior, how have you been holding up?" Jimmy couldn't help but fan his face as he could smell smoke. "Hey, sir, I'm fine. I just need some directions home, please." "Well, okay, but should I put a mint or something in my mouth? You look like you're suffocating there, Jimmy," the clerk said. "No, that's all right. You're okay. It's just a burnt smell in here. It's kind of smoky, too." "Well, I don't smoke and nothing is on fire. Maybe the boy's smoke traveled down the road. Are you smoking now, Jimmy Jr.?" "No. Can I have a map, please? I'm just trying to get home." The clerk hands him a map. Jimmy Jr. leaves out of the gas station shivering, as he was only wearing a wet undershirt and it had gotten colder outside. He continues his walk home, but this time with directions. It's a chilly night. Junior double-checks his pockets for a hat and gloves, and he notices he doesn't even have a key to get in the house. That's not really a big deal, because there was just a house full of people there. Somebody will open the door when he arrives, especially since he had just taken off so suddenly. They must be worried sick. Walking up to a grey 2-story home with white shutters and artificial gardenia flowers dug into the bottom of the mailbox, he finally approaches his home. Tired and exhausted, he climbed up the steps and onto the porch and began knocking. He knocks again. No answer. Jimmy respectfully calls out to his mother. She doesn't answer. Jimmy Jr. walks around to the back of the house and knocks as hard as he could. Now Junior is beginning to worry. How could she not be here? Everyone was just here. Where are my birthday decorations? Jimmy Jr. said to himself. How could they find the time to pack up and not find me? He added. Now, Junior is starting to remember the neighborhood security team and how they are always available when his father would forget how to use the security system or whenever his mother would have problems with the nosy neighbor. He goes over to his neighbor's house and asks them if they have seen his mother or his friends. They deny, however, they let him use their phone. After many attempts, his mother never answers the phone, and there hasn't been any movement over at his house either. The neighbors are kind to Jimmy Jr. and suggested for him to call the security team. Perhaps they'd let him inside. That's why I came over. This is some birthday, says Jimmy Jr. He thanks the neighbors for being kind and letting him use their phone, even though the woman of the house always seemed to have gardening issues with his mom. One day the neighbors had a lawn service over. They were killing weeds that were alongside the fence, and Mrs. Weisenheimer was just starting her elephant ears alongside the edge of her fence. The neighbor had instructed them to spray bye-bye weed on the fence. By doing that, it had killed some of Mrs. Weisenheimer's babies. She had to start decorating the yard with artificial flowers ever since, and they have not spoken either. They only offer to help when necessary, especially if Jimmy Jr. needed some help. Hurrying back across the driveway, Junior sees two flashlights and hears laughing and Boots lousily walking towards his driveway, and notices that it was the neighborhood security team, Officer Cash and Officer Carr. Jimmy, little Lemmy, what can we do for you? Officer Carr said in a soft way, "Can you guys let me in? My mum isn't home. She's not answering the door and all of my friends are nowhere to be found." "You want us to open the door for you, huh? Did they ever find your daddy?" Carr asked. Officer Cash slammed his hand upside his head, turning Carr's crown a bit red. Officer Carr rubs his head. "What? The boy got a daddy who's just went MIA on the whole town, and I'm just checking up on him." Officer Cash unhooks his special ring of keys and shakes them softly, as if they are some kind of Christmas jingle bell. He opens the door and holds it in a position that was wide enough to let Santa Claus and all of the reindeer inside too. Jimmy Jr. steps inside and takes his shoes off before stepping onto the carpet. He'd better do this because his mother just cleaned the carpet the day before his birthday party, and she'd be frantic to come home and see even a toe print on her cream-colored area rug. "I thank you for helping me get inside. My dad would really appreciate you guys, and he'd say thank you if he knew you guys helped his boy. Good night." Jimmy peacefully tries to relieve the officers from the call of duty. For some reason, Cash and Carr stepped into the home. They have a look on their faces unlike any way they've looked so far throughout the night, very serious. It is strange because they've already opened the door for the 16-year-old and let him in. Why were they inside? Why are they looking weird? Why aren't they saying anything? "Where's the device, Jimmy?" asks Officer Cash. Jimmy Jr. looks at Officer Cash, confused about what he's asking, and says, "I don't know what you're talking about." Cash, "Of course you do, Carr." "Yeah, of course you do." Junior slowly starts to back away as the officers make their way closer and closer towards him. Officer Cash, Officer Carr and Jimmy Jr. are the only three people in the house right now, and by the way things are looking, he is in danger. This call went from resident emergency entry to the day of the doom in 10 minutes. Junior turns around to check if his path is clear of any furniture or birthday banners. He is planning his escape. Officer Cash yanks him up by the collar. Carr blurts out an achievement yell as if his favorite team just scored a home run and he placed the biggest bet in the history of betting. Junior got away. He flees into the foyer, goes through the kitchen and down into the basement. Losing all signs of the security team, he began tiptoeing around the basement, sneaking around and not even blinking an eye. Maybe he could go out the window. If he makes it through the window, they will have a hard time finding him because he'd be making his way to Drew's house. Drew's family owns a house in Green Woods. Green Woods is a deserted forestry area where all of the creepy Halloween houses were. Every year around October, teenagers will pay $75 to get spooked out. Drew and his family do not rent their house for Halloween night, they live there. So if Junior goes to Drew's, he's guaranteed safety. He goes over to the window and takes a step onto a pile of old books to climb up. He goes to unhook all of the latches that secured the window. He looks down and notices something. Stay tuned for Season 1, Episode 5.